thought you'd come in a suit.
I know. I'm a farmer.
Well, remind him that he's still bound by the oath.
As it pleases you, my lord, murukuya uchidzwa nedare kuti muchiri pasi pemhiko zvakare munenge muchitariswa kuti ndame muchitaura chokwadi.
Cross-examination state.
Thank you, my lord. Mr. Chimombe, correct that the first accused person is your friend?
Yes.
Sorry, just before we proceed, state, is it possible to open that door? We are what? Yeah. Wide open. Both doors. Can you get a pen somewhere? Yeah. Ask Chantel to look at it. Well, proceed, state.
Yes. For how long have you known him? You're co-accused?
More
More than 15 years.
It's been more than 15 years.
And how close are you?
We are very close.
Your friendship, is it business-based or it is social or both?
Hanzi mungatsanangura ushamwari hwenyu sei? Mungati ushamwari une chekuita nebasa here kana kuti une chekuita nezvekungofarawo kana kuti mungati ndezvese?
Business.
It's both.
Did you ever venture into business together?
Makamboita business mese here kana zvebasa?
Congo.
Yes.
Using which company?
Muchishandisa company ipi?
Farm.
The farm.
Now, the nature of your business relationship, is it documented? Is there an agreement which is signed between parties in relation to the business that you venture together, or you just do business without documenting the relationship, the business relationship?
We just do business.
Do you have individual business consents which are separate from each other? I mean, if your first accused person has got his own businesses and you have your own businesses.
Yes.
So when the two when any of your businesses interact in terms of business, do you document such business relationship between your businesses when they venture into business together?
At started business.
We have never documented any of our business engagements between myself and the first accused.
Now, during the relevant period which is under consideration before this honorable court, correct that you were the director of a business called Militech Militech Enterprises Private Limited.
Director of a business nguva yakaitika zvekuongororwa nedare panguva iyi?
Handisi kunyazoziva kuti zvekuongororwa zvakatanga kuongororwa nguva iyi because kana tichitondera nguva iyoyo ndonguva yanga ndatanga kuitawo zvemakambeni angu, saka handisi kunyazoziva kuti zvekukambeni. Saka
I do not understand the time frame that is in question, but if I'm not mistaken, during that time, that is when I also started my campaigns.
Saka nokudaro gore ra2021 ndaivo director wekambani yainzi Militech, asi ndakazonge ndadropa.
Hence, in 2021, I was the director of the company known as Militech, but I had left that engagement.
Now, when did you leave Militech?
Militech Magaisiani.
March 2021.
It was in March 2021.
How many directors did it have?
Yanga ine directors mangani.
Sokuziva kwangu kwakune 4 directors. I think before vamwe vakasiyawo.
To my knowledge, there were 4 directors, and I think of the 4, some of them left.
Is it still in operation?
Richiri kushanda ire business?
Ongo.
Yes.
Who owns the business?
Ndiani muridzi webusiness?
You mean Militech?
Militech, yes.
Madirectors acho varipo izvozvo, vamwe vachitogona kusasaziva, but togona kuziva 1 or 2.
The current directors who are there, I may not be able to know some of them, but I may know 1 or 2 of them.
Who are the directors?
Kwaiva naMichelle Rusero, kwaiva naMichelle Rusero,
Michelle Ruswaire,
Rusero,
Rusere,
Michelle Nyasha Rusero, Tungai Mujenge, Clifford
Wait,
Tupiko.
go slowly.
Nanzedzai kutaura
Michelle Nyasha Rusere,
Rusero,
and who?
Tungai Mujenge,
Tungai Mujenge,
Clifford Tupiko,
Clifford
Tupeko,
Topeko,
and Mike Chimombe.
Mike Chimombe.
Those are the current directors.
Ati ndoma current directors iraripo izvozvo.
I'm not sure izvozvo kuti macurrent directors vakamira sezvo ndanga ndakasiyawo.
I'm not sure of the status quo since I had left.
Who were the subscribers to the company?
Vanga varipo pakambani vamwe ndianani?
Who were the founders of that company?
Vanga vakatanga kambani.
Sekuziva kwangu yanga iri shelf company, saka handizoziva kuti yanga yakanyanya kutangwa navo.
To my knowledge, it was a shelf company. I would not know who started it.
And who bought it? Who bought the shelf company when you eventually joined as a director?
Ndiana kaitenga shelf company iyoyo pamakazojoina sadirector.
Vanhu vabva kutaura nemasawo vese.
The individuals whom I've just named.
You said you left Militech in March 2022. Is that what you said?
Ndizvo here kuti mati makasiya Militech muna March wa2022.
Which year was that?
2021.
2021.
Now, the GOAT scheme, which is under consideration before this court, it commenced in September, is it? 2021.
Hanzi handizvo here kuti nyaya yeGOAT scheme iri pamberi pedare yakatanga muna September wegore ra2021.
Handicharangarira.
I do not recall.
So is it your evidence that when the GOAT scheme commenced, you were no longer part of Militech Private Limited?
Hanzi muri kuti here imi pakatanga GOAT scheme manga musisiripo kuMilitech Private Limited.
yakatanga handichanyatsoziva kurangara kuti madirectors vangu vatobviswa ire ndandatoisa resignation yangu kudhara September 2021.
I do not recall whether the directors had been removed as at that time, but I had put in my resignation at the time.
Is it your evidence that when the GOAT scheme commenced, you had nothing to do with Militech?
ndaive nechekuita because kana ndicharangarira ndakamboconsult.
I was still involved because if I still remember well, I was once consulted.
Mr. Chimombe, the impression that you have just given this court is that when the GOAT scheme commenced, you had already left Militech in March 2021, and you had nothing to do with Militech. That is what we have just told the court earlier on in your evidence. Are you now changing to say that you then went back to Militech, where you assumed your directorship after you had left in March 2021?
Kana ndicharangarira resignation yangu ndakaisa muna 2021 muna March. Saka nguva yakatanga GOAT scheme handizozva kuti mapepa akashandiswa ndaita resignation here kana kuti anga chiri director of Militech.
If I remember well, I put in my resignation in March of 2021, and hence I'm not sure whether the documents that are being used are the documents prior or after to my putting in the resignation.
If I may give you your defense outline, may you read to the court, the Honorable Court, paragraph 11.
Paragraph 11, here, defense outline here.
The accused will further bring into the attention of the court that he is a director at a shareholder company known as Militech Enterprises. The company responded to invitation bid in a completed bidding process but lost.
Now, go to the end of that defense outline. When was it written?
Dated, date 2nd September 2024.
There is no date, but it is endorsed September 2024.
Thank you. So when this defense outline was submitted to this honorable court, this was the position that you asserted to the court, that you were a director of Militech and you were also a shareholder. And you further confirmed that Militech had participated in the tender process. Are you reciting from your defense outline that you gave to the court?
Quite.
No.
What do you mean? Your one-word answer does not address the question. It can be interpreted in any way.
ndokumbira kuti munyasodzokorera mubvunzo wamabvunzo.
May you please repeat the question that you've just asked?
I said, are you changing your version of events that you gave in paragraph 11 to this court defense outline, that you were a direct and shareholder of Militech, and you also confirmed that Militech had participated in the tender process for the GOD scheme?
Hanzi ndabvunza ndichiti makuchinja here zvamakange makanyora mudefense outline menu pamaitaura kuti mimi manga muri director zvakare nashareholder weMilitech uye zvakare kuti Militech yanga ine chekuita netender process yakaitwa.
Handisi kuchinja.
I am not changing.
So if you were a director of Militech in September 2024, when you tendered your defense outline before this honorable court, how then could you have resigned in 2021? Yet in 2024, you said that was the position, that you were still a director and shareholder of Militech.
Hanzi kana muri direct, manga muri director muna September 2024 pamakanyora defense outline yenyu muchiramba nyaya pamberi pedare. Sei zvakare muri kuti mimi makanga masiya basa muna 2021?
Handogona zichirasika mupagore kuti 2021 or 2022 sezvo zvakaitika kakare.
I may be mixing up the dates and getting lost in as far as the dates are concerned, whether it was 2021 or 2022, since it has been a while.
Yes, you can be pardoned in terms of dates, but not events. You cannot fail to recall that when the tender process started, you no longer had anything to do with Militech. That you cannot be mistaken about. Is that not true?
Hanzi handizvere kuti panyaya dzemadates idzi munogona kuregererwa asi zvinozonetsa kuti zvigamuchirike kuti manga muripo here panguva yakatanga zvetenda kana kuti kwete zvinofanira kujeka.
Nguva yakatanga zvetenda sematauro anobhoita kuti ndaive neruzivo kuti kune tenda yembudzi.
Like I indicated before, when the tender issue started, I was aware that there was the GOD scheme.
During that period, were you still with Militech is the question. We need to establish this point.
Mubvunzo uri pakuti panguva iyoyo manga muchiri pamwe chete here neMilitech? Yes.
So, Mr. Chimombe, do you realize that you are prevaricating your answers in relation to your association with Militech? You don't know where you want to stand, whether you were with Militech or you were no longer with Militech at the time the tender was flighted by the Minister of Agriculture.
Hanzi muri kuzvicherechedzera apa kuti muri kuramba muchichinja mamiriro ezvinhu kuti manga muchine Militech here kana kuti manga muchisina panguva yakaiswa tenda iyoyo.
Sokuziva kwangu ndinorana makambani akati wandei. Saka dzimwe zvinhu zvinoitwa kuMilitech ndizvo zvinozvinzwa zvisina kuziva sezvo ndisiri ndega ndinenge ndiri kurana Militech.
To my knowledge, I run a lot of other companies and I may not be aware of every other nitty-gritty of what is happening with the various companies. And sometimes I'm informed of the happenings of the same.
Today is the 1st of October 2025, isn't it?
Yes.
It marks exactly 1 year when you have been in this court waiting for this moment. Because you were first indicted for trial. I mean, your first trial date was the 1st of October 2024.
Hanzi handizvere kuti papera gore manga makamirira kupinda pamberi pedare rino nekuti makatonge matanga kumira musi wa 1 October 2024.
Why should there be such a confusion for a day that you have been waiting for that long?
Saka sei pari kuita sekunge pane kakovhiringika maererano nezuva ramanga makamirira kwenguva yakareba kudai?
Ya magona zvakanaka vamuchuchisi. Kuvhiringidzika kwandakuita ndekuti ndakasungwa muno mudare nesameki Chimombe. And izvozvo ndiri kubvunzwa zvinhu zveMilitech, ikambani isina kunge iri muno muusungwa. Saka zvinobva zvandivhiringidza zvandiconfuse. Kuna ndichitarisira kuti ndichabvunzwa kuti mhosva yandiri kupomerwa mukati medare ndiyo yandichinge ndichibvunzwa. Saka ndakubvunzwa zveMilitech, ikambani yandove ndakasiya kare. So handinonge ndakagadzirira mubvunzo yekupindura pamusoro pekambani yakandasiya kare.
I had not prepared to respond to questions regarding a company that I have since left in a while. I had been preparing to stand before the court as Mike Chimombe.
Okay. Now, after the tender had been advertised, the evidence that has been adduced by this, this honorable court, in particular from Mr. Mindurwa, is that you approached the Ministry of Agriculture in the company of your co-accused person, inquiring about the goat scheme tender.
Hanzi ubowa kuda pamberi pedare unoratidza kuti mushure kunge tenda yaadvertiswa imini pamwe chete nemusungo wokutanga makaenda kuministry muchibvunzurudza zvine chekuita netenda yegoti.
Asi chokwadi Mr. Mindurwa ndakatovaona one meeting eliminated ine maminista ari mukati munodare Mindurwa.
That is not the position. I only met with Mr. Mindurwa in one meeting, and the minutes are before the court.
Yes, both of you did not challenge that aspect, that when you first went to inquire about the court issue, you went together. So you were together with your co-accused person from the beginning.
Hanzi mese hamuna kupikisana neumboyo wokubva pakutanga kuti pamakaenda kunobvunzurudza zvine chekuita negoat scheme iyi manga muri pamwe chete.
Ndokuti ndicharangarira council yangu vanenge vaprofesa Madhuku vakatosumuka vachiobject meeting iyo kusangana kwandakaita navamindura kana ndicharangaririsa.
If I recall very well, I believe my counsel objected to that point regarding my meeting with Mr. Mindurwa.
You were both directed to the procurement department for the Ministry of Agriculture, where you were supposed to get further details on the project.
Procurement department Ministry of Agriculture.
Andaikwanisa kudirectwa handina kubvira ndakaona naMr. Mindurwa, saka kana uchiti ndakadirectwa ndizvo zvinoreva because handina kubvira ndakasangana naMr. Mindurwa.
That is not possible because I never met with Mr. Mindurwa.
So he was not telling the truth when he said both of you approached him and he actually got accused number one's phone number, which he later used when he ascertained whether Militech had won the tender. Militech Private Limited.
Saka vanga vasingatauri chokwadi here pavakaudza dare ivo vachiti mese makasangana nawo vakatowana nhamba yemusungo wokutanga pavakazokudza kuti Militech yanga yawana tenda.
Avairevesa ndosaka ndambotaura kumashure kuti Profesa Madhuku vanove mumbiriri wangu vakatosumuka vachiramba zvanga zvatobva kutaurwa ivo vamindurwa vakamira pandakamira pano.
He was not truthful because my defense counsel actually objected to what he had submitted, and he was standing where I'm standing.
You are saying he challenged the witness, Mr. Mindurwa, in cross-examination, or he objected when he was during evidence in chief. Are you sure? What is it exactly you want to say?
Pavaitotaura I think we provide a cross exam
during cross-examination.
I see. Now, who facilitated the transaction between Militech and Mr. Mpof's company that had won the tender, the GOT scheme tender?
Hansi ndiana akafacilitata kana kufambisa transaction yanga iripo pakati peMilitech necompany yaMpofu yanga yawina tender.
Vashandi vekuMilitech nevakanga vari kuMilitech.
The employees of Militech and those who were at Militech.
So the business relationship between Militech and accused number one's company pertaining to the GOT scheme was never documented.
Ansaka ukama webusiness wanga uripo pakati peMilitech necompany yemusungo wekutanga haina kumbobvira yawana mapepa akanyorwa maererano nezvazvo.
Sekuziva kwangu vane kuwirirana kwavakaita zviri black and white zviri pamapepa.
To my knowledge, I believe their agreement is in black and white.
Now, is it your evidence, Mr. Chimombe, that there was now a written agreement between Militech and accused's company pertaining to the GOT scheme, in view of the fact that earlier on you had told this court that there was never any written agreement? You do your things without documenting.
Agreement kana kuwirirana kwakanyoreranwa pasi pakati peMilitech necompany yemusungo wekutanga. Takatarisa kuti mimambotaura muchiti hapana mapepa enyorerano.
Kana charangarira mubvunzo wenyu vevamuchuchisi vanga vakamirirana kuti ukama hwangu huripo neafirst accused hwakamira sei, tinoita here, zvatinonyorerana here, tinochibvumirana tatinoita.
If I recall very well, you had posed a question in regards to my relationship with the first accused and whether we document any of our business transactions.
Zvisiri zvekuti company first accused necompany vane agreement yavanoita kana yavakamboita.
Which had nothing to do with the transactions relating to Militech and the first accused person's business.
So I'll ask you again, was there a written agreement between your company Militech and one of the accused person's company in relation to the issue of goats?
Hansi ndakutokurodza zvakare mubvunzo, panga paine agreement here kana kuti kuwirirana kwakanyorwa pasi pakati pecompany yenyu mimi Militech necompany yemusungo wekutanga zvine chekuita nenyaya dzembudzi? Yes.
None of you has produced that kind of agreement. You have produced all sorts of documents, but not the relationship between Militech and any of the accused persons' companies.
Nzasizve pakati penyu hapana kana mumwe chete akabudisa mapepa nechekuita neizvozvo zvinoratidza kushandidzana pakati pecompany yeMilitech necompany yemusungo wekutanga.
Hazvaigona kuti pabude any document because kana ndichinzwisisa masungirwo atakaita ari muno mukoti, it's not Militech and Blacktech. Takasungwa tichinzi Moses Mpofu naMike Chimombe. Saka hakuna pandaigona kubudisa agreement yemakambani maviri aya.
That was not possible because we were arraigned before the courts as Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, and it had nothing to do with Militech and Blacktech.
So, do you now understand why you were arrested? That because there was nothing documented between your two companies, you were acting in your individual capacities, using your companies as a vehicle for the commission of the offense.
hanzi makunzwisisa here kuti sei muri pamberi pedare nokuda kwekuti panga pasitori namapepa zvachose anoratidzana kushandidzana kwamaita asi kuti imimi maingoshanda muri kambani yeMilitech neBlackdeck muchiparamosha.
Handize vangu kuti vamuchuchisi zvamakuti bvunza zvamakutaura mukuzwana kupi because isu tichisungwa tichienda kumapuzaki takasungirwa zisusu ini navampofu takagara pasi takagadzira mapepa ezimura nenasa certificate hatina kumvira takambobvunzwa zvekuti Militech yakashanda sei yeBlackdeck saka zvama kuti titaurira izvi makutotipa imwe mhosva yasingazivi.
I do not know where you are getting that from because when we were arrested by ZAC, we were taken in as myself and the first accused, and the allegations were that we had fabricated documents relating to ZIMRA and NASA certificates.
Are you? Are you going to call evidence wherein Militech will say it dealt with the GOT issue and it can account for its transaction and that had nothing to do with you?
Militech yakaita nezve nyaya dzembudzi zvezviwe zvakare kuti vanogona kunyatsotsanangura kuti zvakafamba sei zvakare kuti zvanga zvisinei nechekuita nemi.
My Lord, I'm inclined to object.
Yes, Mr. Mugia.
Yes, my Lord. My Lord, the issue that Militech was subcontracted by Blackdeck is an issue that is not only contained in the defense outline of the accused person. Throughout the evidence of this trial, that has never been disputed by the state. You recall, my Lord, that even when during the state case, that issue was put to some of the state witnesses to say that is there anything that would have violated the agreement between the government of Zimbabwe and the contract awarded to Blackdeck in as far as subcontracting Militech is concerned. And the positive answer was that there was nothing wrong with that. Even when the first accused, during his defense case, that issue was not disputed. In fact, to my understanding, that has never really been an issue, a disputed fact, as it were. So the unfortunate part is that the manner in which my colleague is cross-examining on that issue, he seems to now want to introduce as if that issue is always in dispute and it's an issue that the accused person ought to have proved to this honorable court. That is the reason for the objection, my Lord. It is entirely unfair. And
what is wrong with the question? I don't understand. If the questions are based on what is common cause, what's wrong with it?
The manner of questioning, my Lord, it now appears as if the state is disputing that issue, that there is a contract or there was an agreement between Militech Private Limited and Blackdeck Private Limited.
Is that what you said? Did you say there was no contract? There was no what I had the question to be was that are you going to call evidence with Militech saying that it dealt with the GOAT issue and that they work and that had nothing to do with you?
Yes.
That was the question. And I thought that is basically...
My lord, the reason for the objection is the input of, or the manner of the questions. What my colleague seems to want to demonstrate with his lining of questions appears to be that there was no agreement between Blackdeck Private Limited and Militech.
Wait until he gets to that. But I don't see... But is there anything wrong with the question that has been put?
Yes, my lord. The issue there is, from the questioning by my colleague, it appears as if my colleague is disputing that there is indeed an agreement.
Said, are you going to call evidence with Militech saying it dealt with the GOAT issue and that had nothing to do with it? You mean he can't answer that question?
The witness can answer that question.
Yes, so let him answer.
I'm in your hands, my lord.
Yes. This witness, please answer the question.
Yeah, answer inogona kuti ndireme kuti ndianse sezvo ndichiri kurangarira patakavhunza state tichida kuziva nezve pamafurther particulars eMilitech. State yakatipindura yakaresponda. I think ndinokumbowa wacho ndinogona kuverenga mukati medare ichiti my investigations aripo. There is nothing to do with Militech. It's only focused on...
It may be difficult for me to respond to that question because if I remember very well, we once inquired for further particulars from the state, and we were informed that pertaining the investigations that we're undergoing, it had nothing to do with Militech.
Yes, that is exactly what the state is saying, that if the transaction between Militech and one of accused companies in relation to the GOAT issue, there would have been agreements produced before this court to say this transaction had something to do with Militech and not Moses. Sorry, not Mike Chimombe. But in this case, you have said there is no such agreement earlier on. There is no agreement at all. That is the transaction had to do with companies and not individuals.
My lord, if I may just interject, I think that it might be unfair. The question, are you going to call evidence wherein Militech will say it dealt with the GOAT issue, appears not to have been translated. We didn't see that getting to the witness. I think we jumped to that witness understands the question.
Okay, maybe it was the timing of the objection which confused them.
Confused that we need to get to a situation where
so
the witness
we go back to that
before it had been translated.
We need to go back to that. Madam Interpreter, the question is, are you going to call evidence with Militech saying it dealt with the GOAT issue and that you had nothing to do with it, you as in the second accused?
I'm most indebted for that, my lord. Hanzi mubvunzo wepamberi pedare ndewekuti muchadaidza here umbowo unoratidza kuti Militech ndo yakaita nezvenyaya dzeGOAT issue asi imimi semusungwa makamusinei nazvo.
Kana vachida kuti vanhu veMilitech vauye vachiansa nezveMilitech vanogona kushedzwa.
If you want the people from the Militech to come and answer to that, they can be summoned to court.
Mr. Chimombe, do you realize that before this court, it's a very serious matter pertaining to money from consolidated revenue that is alleged to have been fraudulently acquired with intention to be with intention to deprive the government of Zimbabwe of that money? Do you realize that?
Kunzwisisira kuti nyaya pamberi pedare inyaya yakaipisisa chaizvo nokuda kwokuti zvine chekuita neconsolidated revenue iri kubva kuhurumende zvichinzi mari iyi haina kushandiswa nenzira dzakafanira uye zvakare mashandisirwo ayakaitwa zvazviri zvokuda kubiridzira hurumende yeZimbabwe.
handina wangu umbo wakanyanyisa kuziva kuti mari yakakwayiwa sei yakapiwa ani because inini samai Chimombe handina kupiwa ndakapiwa mari nehurumende.
I do not have evidence to relating to how this money was used because as an individual, as Mike Chimombe, I never got money from the government.
I see. So is it your evidence that you don't know about the agreement that was entered into between Militech and one of accused persons' companies in relation to the issue of courts?
Saka umbo wenyu uri pakuteera imimi semunhu makazvimirira muna umbo unechekuita neukama hwakaitika pakati peMilitech nekambani yemusungurutanga zvine chekuita nenyaya dzembudzi.
Ndine ruzivo rwakandabvunzwawo vanhu kuMilitech vakandiudza kuti vakashanda sei neBlackTech pamaererano negold scheme.
I have knowledge which I managed to gather from the people from Militech regards to how they related with the people from Blackdeck.
So which company entered into agreement, into an agent agreement with Militech, the company belonging to the first accused?
Company ipi chaizvo chaizvo yemusungurutanga yakapinda muagreement neMilitech.
Blackdeck Private Limited trading as Blackdeck Livestock and Farming.
Blackdeck Private Limited trading as Blackdeck
Farming and Poultry.
Farming and Poultry.
Is that where you end?
Ndopanokupedzera.
Was it also not trading as a Colenso? Colenso farm?
Trading as Colenso farm.
Ndingagona kutadza kurangarira zvangu seso handisiri ndakanga ndasaina chibvumirano chemakambani maviri aya kuti kumberi kwacho kwaizoita seno but sokuziva kwati ringozviita sezvo zvakandazwa mudare munozvitauro ikambani one.
I may not be privy to that, but to my knowledge, it is one company.
What would be your comment if you are told that the company that entered into the gold scheme contract with the government of Zimbabwe is a Blackdeck livestock and poultry farming?
Nanze mungati chii kana vakazvisa kudaro kuti company yakapinda contract neMilitech iBlackdeck livestock poultry farming.
Handigona hangu kukaanza kuti ndizive kuti Blackdeck yakabvumirana nechibvumirano chipi negovernment yehurumende sezvo inisiri weBlackdeck.
I may not be able to respond to that as to which company exactly entered into the contract since I'm not with Blackdeck.
And what will be your comment if you are further told that the company called Blackdeck Livestock and Poultry Farming does not exist?
Nanzi mungati chinga zvisakwa kuti company inonzi Blackdeck Livestock and Poultry Farming haiko zvachose.
Asi zvandambotaura handigone kukomenta nezvekambani yandisingazivi ndingatozotaura dare manyepo.
Like I indicated before, I cannot speak to what I do not know, lest I will lie to the court.
And what will you further say if it is put to you that the tender was won through discipline, that the documents which were used in winning the bid were fraudulently acquired?
Company yamakawina nayo tenda iyoyi mapepa acho akashandiswa akanga awanikwa nenzira dzekubiridzira.
Handigone kuti kupindura kuti ndakawina tenda sezvo Militech haida kubva Blackdeck ndo yakawina and Blackdeck maitiro anoita mapepa awo ini handina ruzivo nazvo saka handigone kuti ndikomente on behalf of Blackdeck.
I cannot speak to that because Blackdeck is the one that won the tender.
Is it correct that your company Militech was given 200 million ZiG, which at the time was over $1 million US from the monies that were gotten from the Ministry of Agriculture for the gold scheme?
You mean 200 million Zimbabwe dollars?
Yes.
Not Ziggy.
No, RTGS at the time. Thank you, my lord.
Which was
RTGS.
equivalent to?
It was more than $1 million US at the time.
Yes.
hanzi andizvere kuti kampani yenyu nini inova Militech yakapuhwa mari inoita yo 200 million RTGS inogona kukosha mari inodarika 1 million US dollars.
sokuziva kwangu ndinoziva hongu kuti yakapiwa 200 million asi kuti ndizoziva kuti yasvika sei kuma 200 kuma 1 million uko handizonyatsoziva kuti mari dzacho anga akamira sei panguva
My
yacho.
knowledge, yes, it was given 200 million RTGS, but however, I'm not sure of how it then translates to $1 million US because I'm not aware of the rates as at the time.
You do consider that was a large amount of money. It is still quite a large amount of money.
Hanzi asinozvibvuma here kuti zvisinei hazvo ingori mari yakawandisa.
Hongu ndozobvuma kuti mari yakawandisa.
Yes, I accept that.
Now, in view of the amount involved, is it not surprising that there was never any prior agreement which was signed in relation to the nature of the transaction that gave rise to the transfer of that money into your account, where conditions and terms were clearly stated on how it was supposed to be applied?
Asizve hazvikatyamadzi here takatarisa kuwanda kana uwandu hwemari iyoyi kuti hapana kana kuwirirana kana zvinyorwa zvakanga zvanyorwa pasi zvine chekuita newirirano yanga yaitika.
Sezvanovatora kumashure kuti zvokuziva kwangu Militech neMilitech vane chibvumirano chavakaita ndo zvinove zvezvimwe zvezvinyorwa zvavakaita zviri muchibvumirano kuti
Like I indicated prior, Militech and Militech entered into an agreement.
So where is that agreement?
This agreement iripi chaizvo.
It's a big sum of money where it was supposed to be documented on how that money was supposed to be used.
Mari yakawandisa zvakanyanya zvekuti zvaifanira kunyoreranwa pasi kuti mari yaizoshandiswa sei.
ndofunga zvezvandambotaura kuti muno mudare handifungi kuti ndakamira pano semunhu ari kumiririra Militech saka ndaigona kuti ndonobvunza vanhu vekuMilitech kana ndouya nevanhu vekuMilitech ndichivabvunza kuti maagreement sezoine ndauya muno mudare ndakamira kuti ndakafodza sei mapepa nacertificate nezimwe certificate ndo zvakandasungirwa ndo zvandauya zoansa handina kuuya zoansa zveMilitech zokuti ndingave ndine chibvumirano chakaitika pamberi peMilitech neBlackTech.
Like I indicated before, I have been arraigned before the court as an individual, not as a representative of Militech, and as such, I cannot speak to transactions relating to Militech, but to speak to the questions relating to how it is being alleged that I forged documents like the NASA certificates.
Mr. Chimombe, this honorable court has to see the whole transaction that happened. In particular, what we are discussing now, that monies were being transferred in relation to the first 100 million. Within 24 hours, it had been transferred from BlackTech Private Limited to Militech Enterprise Private Limited without any documentation being presented that the transaction was above, which is a clear indication that these are individuals who were not in pursuit of business objectives, but they were acting on their own. because the business is not aware. There are no documents to that effect that they were they were in relation to your two businesses which entered into such agreements. Both of you haven't tendered such agreements.
Chimombe zvekunzi dare rinoremekedzwa rinofana kunyatsojekeserwa kuti zvakafamba sei nokuda kwekuti pane 100 million yekutanga yakatotransfer kubva kublackdeck ichiiswa kumilitech zvisina tsanangudzo zvisina kana mapepa anotsanangura kuti mari iri kufamba sei ichashandiswa sei zvinoratidza kuti izvi zvanga zvisinei nemakambani asi kuti zvanga zvine chekuita nemi pachezvenyu.
Kana ndicharangarira muno makaverengwa statement yeblackdeck muno mudare mudzimotsa afirst accused anove Moses Mpofu achiverenga kudaro kune makambani akati one day akatransferwa mari dzakafanana nedzemilitech, kune maindividual futi akatransferwa dzinenge mari dzakati one day sedzemilitech. Saka hazvaigona kuti zvinhu izvi zvakaitika pakati pamwe naMpofu kana kuti makambani edu chete, because kune makambani akati one day akapiwa mari idzodzo and hasi kuvaona mukati memedare. Saka handizivi kuti program iyi inoaffecta blackdeck nemilitech here kana kuti inofanira kubata makambani yese vakange vachipiwa mari yehurumende.
If my memory serves me well, there was a statement that was read before the court which clearly indicated that there were other plethora of amounts that were transferred to various companies, and I do not know why it is specifically being asked of questions relating to Militech and Blackdeck only.
Yes, Mr. Chimombe, it would have been much easier for you to have merely have accounted for the relationship between your company and the accused one's company. That yes, indeed, this was a business transaction about goods. We received 200 million RTGS, and we use it for the business for which it was intended for in the following manner. That would have been understandable, but not now. There was nothing written. The money, 200 million, is never accounted for. We don't even know whether you bought a single goat out of it, or you even came up with infrastructure out of that money that you were given.
nokuda kwekuti apa hatichazivi chaizvo kuti mari yaishandiswa chii, kuti zvichida mune zvamakavaka kana zvamakatenga kana kugutsikana chaiko kuti pamwe pane mbudzi imwe chete zvayo yamakatenga hapachina.
Bvunzo zvakanaka chaizvo ndotosara dai ndakasungirwa Militech ndaikwanisa kuya nezvose because Militech sekuziva kwangu yakaita zvayakapirwa mari neBlackdeck and zvese zviripo. Kana takada kuita inspection in law izvezvi vachienda kuMilitech zvese zviripo zvakaitwa semabhadhariro vakaita neBlackdeck, but handaikwanisa kuzviisa mukati medare rino nhasi because ini ndakasungwa saMike Chimombe chini ndakafoza nhasi certificate nezimwe certificate ndo zvandainga kuzopindurana nhasi.
I am pleased with that question. If I would have been in a position to gather up and present evidence relating to the business engagements or transactions that were done by Militech, had it been that Militech is the one that is arraigned before the court, but I have been arraigned before the court as an individual on allegations of having fraudulently acquired NASA certificates.
I want to understand your answer, Mr. Chimombe. Are you saying you don't wish to answer the question because you are appearing in court as in your personal capacity, or you are saying you don't know what happened at Militech? I think you have answered many questions the same way. I want to know what exactly you are saying. Is it that you do not wish to relate to affairs, to Militech affairs, although you may have knowledge, or you don't know?
nenzira imwe chete kakawanda. Vada kunzwisisa kuti muri kuti imi hamusi kuda kupindura bvunzo nechekuita neMilitech here, asi zvisinei hazvo kuti munoziva nezvazvo kana kuti muri kuti hapana chamunoziva hamuzivi.
Handinoda kuti ndinoda kupindura mubvunzo ine chekuita neMilitech wongo, asi kuti ndinzi tine mapepa here, tine agreement here zvandauya nazvo zveMilitech handinoda kunge ndagadzirira, asi dai zvaidiwa nekoti, dai zvaidiwa neprosecution, dai kunge ndichizvikwanisa kunge ndizvikuuya nazvo. Sezvo ndakasungwa saMike Chimombe, handinoda kusungwa sadirector weMilitech.
I want to answer questions relating to Militech. However, I had not been arraigned before the court as an individual for Militech. I would have gladly produced evidence.
Yes. State.
With such a high power, you are well represented, Mr. Chimombe. 3 senior legal practitioners. It never occurred to you that the matter was just simple for you to just account for it, the money, the 200 million, rather than come up with a bare denial.
Takatarisa kuti mune vamiririri vakasimba chaizvo, hazvina kuuya mupfungwa dzenyu kuti paida umbowo apa hunonyatsotsanangura kuti mari yakashandiswa sei, kunze kwekuti mungouya pamberi pedare murambe nje.
Although you had no honors to do that, but if it was above board, that would not have been difficult.
Hanzi asi zvisinei hazvo kuti hamusi kusungirirwa kuti munge muchiita izvozvo, zvava zvisina kufanira here kuti mungounza umbowo ihwohwo hunojekesa kuti zvinhu zvakaitwa nemazvo.
Sezvandambotaura kuti ndaitofunga kusaziva nekuti utanga kusungwa, asi dai ndaiziva kuti zvoni umbowo hwakadaro waidewo mukati medare ndaifara chose, ndaikunge ndakauya nawo. Kunokuda kuti 200 million yakabhadharwa kuMilitech iri accountable for.
Like I indicated before, I was not aware of the same. It was my first time being arrested, but I would have brought evidence accounting to the 200 million in question.
You do?
Sorry, State. I have an agent application. Can we resume at 2?
2 o'clock. This is 25 minutes to. In 25 minutes.
Yes, you think it's too soon? We will try. I think my intention is to manage it and then come back quickly.
Oh, I see. Indebted, my lord. Yes.
So you can have lunch during that period and we'll come back at 2. Continuation. Mr. Chimombe, we'll take a break until 2 o'clock. Court adjourns.